There they are, ladies and gentlemen, the stare down and a few words exchange.
Davis's corner. So you have Coach Calvin, and Coach Calvin is the head trainer, and you have Coach Kenny, who really specializes on preparing game plans specifically for opponents.
I haven't seen.
You're gonna see Saturday,
bro.
Saturday
even
night.
the little clips on the what is called that we just had, the gloves off. What the was you doing?
Hey, you know what?
Gervonta Davis lit a fuse when he slapped Lamont Roach square in the face during their face-off, and the explosion was instant. The moment crackled with tension as Davis growled he'd break Roach once they step in the ring. Both fighters locked. Eyes like predators, no flinching, no backing off. This wasn't just hype, it was pure, seething hate. The slap wasn't for show. It was a warning shot. Gervonta Davis has entered a new mental zone, calm, cold, and laser-focused under the close watch of Coach Calvin Ford. This time, it's all sweat and silence. No chaos, no hangers-on, just brutal work. But the big shift at DC Crew from the last camp they're out. This team's locked in and airtight. No moles, no mistakes. Word was, Roach had inside info before, not anymore. Davis is on a mission with Ford. And this time, it's not just a comeback, it's a full-on statement. This fight isn't about revenge. It's about rewriting everything.
He's 100% correct. Personally, I had Gervonta Davis up a round. Because whenever you have rounds where nobody's doing anything, I'm not just going to do what most people do, and especially people that don't like Gervonta Davis, which is just give the round to the other guy because Gervonta Davis didn't manage to knock him out that round. Okay, so this is Gary Russell Jr. clearly saying, man, no, I don't think Lamont Roach won that fight. You also had Al Bernstein, and Al Bernstein, I'm telling you, is a very, very straight, fair guy who I don't know if he was on that call, but he used to work with Showtime. I don't know if he was on there. I don't recall if I heard him. I think it was Rolly Ronaldo that was calling it. But Al Bernstein, who was a very, very objective person, said, hey, look, no, sorry to break it to you, but Gervonta Davis won that fight. Yeah, Lamont Roach put up a really good fight, but Lamont Roach was not dynamic. He did not do anything to really separate himself from Gervonta Davis. He just kept it equal. He just tried to keep it even the entire fight. And that's not enough, again, to take the belt from the champion. Now, I do want to say that the people that thought that Lamont Roach won, I don't have any problem with that. I really don't have a problem with it at all. I personally, again, had a point for Gervonta Davis, but I could see how those swing rounds really could go, depending on who's looking at it, really could go different.
Even before a punch is thrown, this Davis versus Roach rematch is breaking the bank. 150,000 PPV buys and counting. That's not hype, it's proof. This rivalry has the fans hooked. People remember how wild their first battle was, and they're dying to see if Davis takes his crown back or if Roach shuts the door for good. These numbers speak volumes. This isn't a second chapter, it's the spotlight fight of the year. And now, both fighters are more than contenders. They've become headline makers in the sport's biggest grudge war.
Tank out here selling under 150,000 pay-per-views, you kidding me? Oh man, Face of Boxing, yeah, turn that shit off. Yeah, we shutting that shit down every single time. Does Shakur really want to fight Tank? I think Shakur could sell a bit more with somebody else, especially in Saudi. I feel like they can find him a dancing partner that'll do a little bit better than 150,000. Okay, I get it. This is why PBC delayed this fight for 5 months? Y'all ain't want to pay this motherfucker because y'all know he can't sell. I mean, this should have been evident. If you do the math, Tank has never been that great of a pay-per-view draw. He sold over 300K twice now in his career. He sold over 300K with Ryan Garcia. That's obvious. Ryan's the bigger star. And then he sold over 300 with Martin. He sold about 325. But when we put it in perspective, that Frank Martin fight was a comeback fight after a year layoff, so it was always going to sell. Every comeback fight's going to sell. It was one of the first pay-per-views on Amazon's new PBC deal, so they were really trying to push it. And then he had David Benavidez as the co-main event with Gary Russell and Alberto Puello under them. You take away all those factors that this wasn't a comeback fight. David Benavidez isn't the co-main event, and Amazon has now been in the game for over a year. It makes sense it only sold 150. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys in the comments. No, it sold 500K. Don't be so gullible. They didn't sell 500K. I don't know if Tank's a top... Well, I know for a fact he's not a top 5 draw in the sport of boxing anymore. Well. He's not selling pay-per-views. Bivol better BF just triple him. Well, Jerry, their pay-per-views are cheaper. Don't matter. All that matters is who has more eyes watching him, and Bivol and better BF do. Tank.
Instead of tearing up the playbook, Davis's team made a smarter call. Refine, don't restart. They dissected that first fight and saw the truth. Davis hesitated when it mattered most. So now, they've rebuilt the details, tighter angles, sharper spacing, and patches where Roach slipped through. No panic, no chaos, just upgrades. Davis isn't turning into someone new. He's becoming a better version of the beast he already is. That hesitation, gone. Now he's coming in sharp, locked, and lethal. And that makes him a real threat.
He got a good chin. Oh, he got a good chin. If you got a good chin, okay, let's go ahead. Let's touch this. The chin ain't the only thing that can get you out of there. There's other things you can do and then go back to the chin. I won't go into details, but I look at shit different from a lot of people, man. You know what I'm saying? If you got a fighter that listen, he's gonna be a hell of a fighter if he listens to what I tell him. You know, all fighters don't listen because some missions you put them on, you gotta walk through hell to get it done, and every fighter is not willing to walk through hell. You know what I mean? But the chin is not the only thing to get a fight out of it, and the body's not the only thing to get a fight out of there. It's other shit too, you know. You gotta hurt. I believe in hurting them. You gotta hurt them to get this started, you know.
PD, thank you for the $2. People were surprised by Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, that they don't exist. There's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
That so-called knockdown from the first fight might have been a fluke. New info says Davis wasn't rocked. His vision was blurred by some kind of irritating grooming product. If that's real, it flips the whole narrative. That stumble wasn't about Roach's punch, it was a freak moment. Suddenly, questions about Davis's chin or gas tank vanish. His fans always said he never lost control. Now they've got backup. This time, even the tiniest issue like face cream residue off the table. Davis's camp isn't just training, they're eliminating every risk.
Everybody really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They said it's over. They think that this time Lamont go in more confident, knowing that basically he can, really take it to Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident because you gonna go up against a different Tank. Like I told y'all in previous videos, he go in there confident thinking he could walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he get you on that button, them lights going off, I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that's gonna fold. You're going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's gonna get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont, bro. I feel like you was in your head too much. You was overconfident. And you was really just, your mind was in y'all story, the lore and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont. This from the same camp. We from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up. Because you got to think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that...
Former champ Mikey Garcia didn't hold back when weighing in on Davis's chances. Sure, he praised Davis's skills and natural fight instincts, but warned that talent alone won't win this one. The real battle, Garcia says, is upstairs. Davis has to drown out the noise, the critics, the chaos, the headlines. His head has to be locked in like steel. Garcia's take: Davis absolutely can win, but only if he's mentally bulletproof. Because this rematch isn't just a physical fight, it's a psychological war. And one slip in focus could be fatal.
I'll let you go for that. I got a lot of shit to do. Lamont Roach versus Gervonta, the rematch. Looks like it's gonna happen, hopefully. I
think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and then he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows? Maybe
it turns the market back out.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one.
After the first Roach fight, whispers spread fast. Was Davis done? Socials blew up with doubts, but Davis didn't tweet. He trained, no sidestepping, no pity tour. He shut it all out and dove back into camp. That fast-tracked rematch. It wasn't just tactically, it was a message, a loud one. Davis doesn't fold under fire, he chases it down. In one move, he flipped the story from failure to redemption. And now, he's not just back, he's rewriting the whole narrative with fists, not posts.
I just want to know, when is the rematch going to happen at this point? Because I'm not going to lie, for it to be a whole month later and y'all still arguing over who actually won, it's just really like, okay, yeah, run it back, because we got to go ahead and settle this, squabble this up. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say neither fighter in here is shitty, okay? Because after the fight I seen on March 1st, yeah, they both was tagging shit, both getting up with each other, okay? I feel like this is the perfect match. If anybody's gonna do a rematch, you need to be down, period. And Gervonta was stinging him. I'm not gonna lie, he was stinging him. Great fight for him. But I'm not gonna lie, he came out knowing what he was trying to do, y'all. Y'all have to give it to him. Like, y'all just be hating, okay? Y'all can't get in the ring and fucking fight. Y'all just be hating. At least I'm giving them no props, okay? Because Gervonta had a great fight. Don't get me wrong. My money was on him. But I think what messed him up was the fact that when he came out, y'all know he usually be 2 steps ahead. He was 3 steps ahead. I feel like he already had Tank figured out. And he definitely was not expecting that. And him, on the other hand, I think he came in really having something to prove. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Like, it was a really good fight, and I feel like this is how I see it. In the beginning of the fight, he was stinking, back to back, you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the fight, that's when he finally kicked it up. But I seen consistency through him through the whole fight. Not gonna lie, like, so I just feel like the rematch should happen, because never know, he might, now that he was 3 steps ahead, become 8 steps ahead, and he might really knock his butt down. But at the end of the day, it's like, we need this rematch, because I don't think this is ever gonna be a dispute that is settled and, you know, officially he won, he lost until they fight. Like,
Teddy Atlas, never one to bite his tongue, gave fans a new lens on Davis's danger. While most are obsessed with his power, Atlas spotted what really makes Tank deadly: his control. It's the rhythm, the calm, the invisible reads. Davis doesn't just swing, he studies. Under pressure, he's ice cold, while others panic. He plots. Atlas made it clear, Davis isn't just a puncher, he's a tactician. And when that brain links with his fists, it's not just highlight reels, it's surgical execution.
He's going to try to get to us, but we're going to frustrate him. He doesn't get frustrated. He takes his time. He's deliberate. You know, a lot of times at the beginning, people thought he was just a seek and destroy missile. They thought he was just a guy that got to you. And they thought that he would get over anxious. He don't get over anxious. He takes his time. He slowly closes those gaps, you know, inch by inch, step by step, and then he gets to you.
Stephen A. Smith jumped in with his trademark fire, laying out what he sees as the true edge: Davis's physical dominance. Roach might be slick, he might be sharp, but Smith says that won't matter if he can't hold ground. In close quarters, Davis turns into a wrecking ball. The strength, the mass, the control, it's overwhelming. And Smith's view is simple. In war, finesse might falter, but brute force, that ends fights. And Davis has enough to end it early, rough, and loud.
And lastly, Stephen A., last name I, of course, want to throw your way is Gervonta Davis. I know you believe in his skills.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What do you think of his fight with Roach? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think Roach is too small. I think Roach is too small. And that's my issue. I'm not questioning the skill set or anything like that. But it was similar to Frank Martin. You know what I mean? This guy comes in there and we got 18 fights. And I remember watching that pre-fight press conference when he was annoying Gervonta Davis so much, and he cussed by accident. Excuse me. He cussed by accident. He was like, "Oh, you know, making this up. He hurt me in sparring," and you know, and I knew Gervonta was gonna come for him, and sure enough, that's what he did. Walked right towards him from round 1 on. But you know, I remember what he said, and it really, really struck me. Gervonta's a smart dude, bro, and he saved you you really should have waited. You don't have enough experience. You really should have waited and took your time before you came to me. And that's what Gervonta Davis told him. And,
Right now, Davis is grinding like a man on a mission, and he's not hiding it. This isn't just prep, it's a full-blown siege. Every bit of backlash, every critic's comment, it's fuel. His strength is rising, his pace is sharper, and his stamina is being pushed to its edge. Each workout is treated like the 12th round. He's not just training to win, he's training to destroy, to erase doubt, to bury the past. Because this isn't about revenge, it's about reminding everyone exactly who he is.
Like, gotta step back from the situation. That's why I think he's being hushed right now, because when he come this time, it ain't no talking. And that's why I think it's scary, because we never see Tank in that mode where he don't say a word. I think this gonna be a different Tank. And what's crazy is Tank used to be like that in the beginning, like when he was with Floyd. Like, I'm talking about Tank with the fade, with the waves, bro. He ain't used to be on that showboat and stuff until he got, like, you know, a little bit more in the boxing, you know, thing. Of course, once you with Floyd, you gonna start being flashy and doing backflips off the ring. But in his beginning stages, dude wasn't playing. He was dropping I think that's what he about to go to, bro. And we know that people like, man, did he take Calvin off his team? Nah, like he said, Calvin, his boy. I think he just rocking with somebody else right now to get him some sharper skills, you know, to change up his skill and what people know him by. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think Tank go take it to Lamont. And that's not me being biased. I think we ain't ever seen Tank like.
To sharpen his arsenal even more, Davis called in Kenny Elisa, no BS trainer with a laser eye for flaws. Ellis doesn't do comfort. He does pressure. Under him, Davis is fixing everything. Every step, every twitch, every slip. Ellis's sessions are like combat drills, no hiding, no slacking. He breaks you down and builds you tighter. And when fight night hits, Ellis won't just be another cornerman. He'll be a live wire, ready to recalibrate Tank in real time. Precision won't just be a plan, it'll be a weapon.
He's one of the best trainers in boxing, second guy in the corner. Is responsible for a lot of the real tactical decisions and tactical analysis that goes on in Gervonta Davis's corner. So you have Coach Calvin, and Coach Calvin is the head trainer, and you have Coach Kenny, who really specializes on preparing game plans specifically for opponents. So to have him talk about what's going on with Lamont Roach, I thought was interesting and insightful, because what he said was that, one, he's not falling for the okie doke. When Mill City asked him, hey, what do you think about the fact that, you know, that Lamont Roach was seen at a basketball game chugging a beer? And I would have added to the question that you see Lamont Roach out giving a bunch of interviews, doing the interview circuit, right? Kind of being a little bit out of character leading into the rematch. Do you think, and this is what Mill City asked, do you think that is something you guys are taking in consideration in preparation for the fight? And what Kenny Ellis said was, look, man, we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We know what Lamont Roach brings to the table. And he says that Lamont Roach is, we're not believing that he's out there drinking or blowing up a bunch of weight and all of that. You know, he says what most people say, hey, we're going to prepare for the best version of Lamont Roach that is going to, that'll come for us. But the way that he saw the fight coming out was he said he sees it like the fight before, a lot of really crisp shots land.